What's up, everybody? You've tuned in to Just Draws, the podcast that explores hot topics and various experiences among same gender loving black men. In each episode, we offer raw, vulnerable, and stripped down perspectives to give voice to our frequently overlooked population. Here, we don't just scratch the surface, we dive deep, peeling back the layers of our experiences as well as heteronormative stereotypes. Let's get into this week's episode.
Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening. Jeff here with another edition of Just Thoughts. So let's get right into it, shall we? It's summer, it's 2024. I'm 48, which means this time 30 years ago, I was an 18-year-old just getting out of high school. So I don't know about you, but I was a queer kid in the 90s. Did not really enjoy the high school experience. It wasn't totally horrible, but I could not wait to get out. Not even going to lie about that. I endured it because I had to. I would have been happy with just taking a GED, going to college, and going on about my business. But didn't really have too much of a choice in that because my mom would not have had that. So why did I not like the experience? Well, I was never one for popularity in society in the first place. Society just felt fake to me. A little how social media is now, there's this aspect to it that I just don't feel is genuine. So back then, and possibly now too, I don't keep up with these things, but we had these black debutantes and debutante balls. So girls did this yearly, and I think they had the botillions for the dudes. And then they would do that like every 2 years. And so, this is how those uppity Southern Negroes in my town would like come out to society like they were Bridgerton or something like that. I thought it was stupid. But anyway, if you watch Bridgerton and you know me, then you know that Eloise is probably the character that I would say I relate to the most, because she ain't there for society. Anyway, so these formals always felt just like some kind of, I don't know, they only kind of catered to the guys that had like a certain look to them. The cute, attractive ones, the guys that played like the sports ball, the ones with the popular parents, the ones that were probably parents were in the Divine Nine and were already, on that path to, join sororities and things like that and fraternities. Just not was my deal. And I remember my mom, who was pretty popular in my hometown, had asked me if I wanted to partake. And I was like, no, I'm good. I was a smart, geeky, sarcastic guy. I did my schoolwork, went about my business, really did not care about socialization like that. I was the type of guy that was at the arcade playing Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat. That was me. I didn't get invited to those parties. I did not know about weekend hangouts. I spent my nights studying, doing my homework so I could watch primetime TV. So that was just not for me, the society thing. So, now I may forget the exact desk I sat in English class, what my book reports were all about. But what I do remember is how I felt during that time period in my life. So I'm going to quote Maya Angelou here. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." I remember getting harassed in middle school. I remember being called a fag. I remember feeling lonely at times, literally not seeing people again on the last day of school from that point until the first day of school, the next school year. And it was kind of isolating. I'm just going to be real about it. But I also remember that I had the power to change things. I could turn the way things were going around. And I had a goal. I made a plan. I enacted that plan. We're going to get into that right now. So what was my goal? All right, so let's get to it. All right, so I had a few people that I was cool with in school, hang around this and another. The main group I talked to in school, we would gather around before class started, talk about, what happened on Ricky Lake, Melrose Place, Different World, school, gossip, all the good stuff. It was like a mini version of The View before The View even existed. Barbara Roxford probably owes us some money. But anyway, now I will admit that, back then I did not look the part. I was geeky. Like I said, I was letting my hair grow out. Really wasn't on that fade thing or the waves. I was just making sure that my hair was brushed. I was clean. I didn't stink. My clothes were all over the place. Like, had no real like styling or anything like that. I probably looked close to those anime guys, the anime black guys of today, but I wasn't that bad. But I probably was on the road. That being said, I didn't really care about anything but trying to make on a roll, get out, get a scholarship, move on out of that. Fashion was not high on the priority list at all. But I was like, I want to go on a field trip, and I don't have anything planned. I have no extracurriculars that I have going on to do that now. What am I going to do? So this is me, sophomore year, just kind of looking at my future. So I had a goal of going on a field trip for my senior year because I already had some like lined up in the other schools or clubs or classes I was in. But I knew senior year I was going to be empty because I was in Spanish, and Spanish 3 was the last year they had Spanish, and we always had something in Spanish. We would always go somewhere for that. So with no Spanish 4 my senior year, I was like, what am I going to do? So I had to figure out something. It had to be a little crafty. So gamification of this thing. So like a classic 1980s movie trope, where the guy goes through or the girl goes through this big metaphoric change where she just turns into the butterfly. I basically did that myself. So I worked on the things that I need to work on so I could get to this goal, because that was it. Second semester, sophomore year. Came back to school out of Christmas break, refreshed my wardrobe, made sure my hair was cut every other week, if not sooner than that. Mustache was coming in. It looks about like that. This is basically what I had, but I was coming in then. Made sure that I was taking care of my skin. I was using Noxzema, Oxy-10, Seabreeze. I think during my entire time of going through puberty, I probably had like 4, maybe 5 max pimples. But, you do the work, then it pays off now because 48 wear. Anyway, my style of dress went from like being super geeky to a little bit more denim preppy at the time, button downs, jeans, press, things like that. Really didn't get into khakis until I got out of school, or at least into college, undergrad. But I was more of a jeans and short guy when we could wear them. So took things to a different level with that. Even though when I was looking totally crazy, I always had name brand clothes. They just weren't really going together. So I just put a little bit more effort in putting in my style together. So I was getting Tommy, I was getting Bose, what I considered like the good brands that were also popular, and then around the time people were into cross colors. I did not like the quality of cross colors denim. But I did love Levi's. So what I would do is just take like a lighter pair of Levi's, and then I get some rip dye and then apply that to it. Basically get the same effect with a little bit better quality denim. Some people could say that would have been cheap, but look, I just didn't like the quality and how their denim felt. It just wasn't working. I think for my shoes, I had, Nikes all the time. Really didn't get into Adidas until later. Boots, loafers. I had like these Doc Martin looking things. Again, this is the 90s. They were kind of cool. They had like this yellow band around them. So, I stepped things up. I had ordered some stuff from via catalog, International Mail. If you know, you know. And one of the distinct shirts I got from that was this button up clock shirt, embroidered with Roman numerals all across it in a circle pattern. No one had anything like that. And I remember wearing it to, I think, junior awards day with some black pants, black jeans, and those yellow Doc Martens. I was looking pretty good. I hate that I did not have a picture of that, though. It's a shame. But yeah, I was trying to be a little bit trendy, but just selectively so. But I also didn't want to look like anyone else. So anyway, I did the things that I needed to do so I could meet the minimum requirements to climb this social ladder. I was focused on my goal. And I did all that to set up the goal of the campaign of getting on student council. I wanted that field trip. I knew student council always had that going on each year. I made sure that I put myself in a position where I could successfully run and get on student government and make that trip. I even did things like, up on the newspaper staff my junior year too, so I could be in the scene without actually being participant in the scene. So I got to go to different events, interview students and teachers and things like that. So that's pretty cool. So that actually raised my popularity, and actually ended up getting known for my voice. The what you hear now, a little bit lighter than this, but that, and I also got chosen to be or selected as one of the people that they thought would have their own talk show. And here I am doing a podcast 30 years later. So it's interesting to me, how I wasn't included in a lot of the fun and seeing how other people at my school have these memories of the good times and things. Well, I was just kind of like enduring it, just doing what I needed to do to just make it through. And to me, it kind of feels like a little bit of some revisionist history. I wasn't going to the parties, I wasn't doing the drinking, really didn't care about the football games and the other social clubs that they had going on. It just was not me. But it sticks out, or it doesn't get unnoticed to me, that once I had put this plan together, that it was relatively pretty easy to climb up that social ladder. And I imagine if I had started that like maybe freshman year, I probably would have been solidly popular. But who knows? Maybe not. It really wasn't something that I wanted for myself. Just something that I just felt like I had to do in order to get to that goal. Um, I mean, even after all of that, getting on student council, I didn't even get the invite to the senior skip day, which is kind of odd. I didn't really care about it because I didn't even know about it until like years later. It's like, oh, that happened. But, that's fine. I did not really care about that. Again, I just want to get the fuck out of there. Anyway, recently, now my 30th class reunion was held again. I'm 48. I did not attend. I had no intention of going. I did not have those fond memories. To me, it wasn't like that big deal. And I already had a trip planned to my hometown anyway. I didn't want to make 2 trips within 2 weeks' time. So that was that too. I contributed. I helped. I initially set up a Google Sheet, so that people could fill out the form, and put their email address, name, phone number, so that we could all communicate the plan for the reunion. Because one thing about being one of the more outcasty types, it's important for me to feel like people are included. I knew that there would be an issue if we did not do or put in the best efforts to make sure that we had a database of people and reach out and say, spread the word, so that at least everyone in the class would be aware at minimum that, hey, this reunion is happening. So no one could say, hey, I didn't get the invite, I didn't get reached out to. We really did, or they did, that team did their best in order to reach out to those people. All I did was facilitate getting the information together. So that was helpful enough. I spent the weekend of my class reunion with my boyfriend, butt ass naked, at a resort with a bunch of other naked men. It was awesome. I had a blast. Did not miss out. If there is anything that is the true opposite of fear of missing out, that's what I had going on. So this leads me to this. So we've been doing these podcast episodes for a while. And a lot of the subjects kind of talk or touch on friendships and relationships and things like that. In this case, I would have only been friends with my classmates just by way of proximity, low level trauma bonding of just enduring our teachers and faculty. But yeah, being friends by proximity, not because they chose me, not because I chose them, just because we only go to the same school. We only live in the same town. That's the only reason that we are friends. And so like now, my friend circle is filled with people that want to be my friend, that I want to be friends with them because they actually like me in my dazzling personality, not because we just happen to sit next to each other in math class, or that we lived on the same street or the same apartment complex or anything like that. We're genuine friends, and we chose each other. And that's meaningful and impactful to me, or me. Now that's it. More than one thing can be true at once. So let me get this out the way, be clear. I do not discount the relationships and connections that my classmates have formed between themselves. I think that's wonderful for them. I'm happy because I feel like those people have relationships that have lasted over 40 years, and that's significant. That's amazing. I mean, can you imagine someone knowing you that long and knowing a lot about them too, and the memories and inside jokes that you've got over that time? That would be cool. That's a significant bond, and I, think that would be great. As a gay man, life can be very lonely, and we spend a lot of time being or feeling like we're excluded and isolated in our youth. We don't really get offered the luxury of super long time friends like that, and I think that's great for them. And while it's gotten better for younger gays, it's still not nearly near 100% matched and equal when it comes to being accepted for who you are, and especially during those formative years. And, that can be extended to all of our outcasts. That's the nerds, the anime lovers, the gamers, the introverts, the freaks, the geeks, trans people, anything that takes you off of that mainline course, that thin little box that you've got to be in to be accepted. That's for you. So I say that I am not mad or angry or even envious of my classmates really at all. And I don't not like them. Please don't get me wrong. I admit I am a bit jaded. I'm a bit cynical when it comes to that time of my life. That's fine. The majority of them will never even hear or see this recording anyway. So there's that. And if they ever do, I say what I said. I stand on business. I am not taking back anything that I said because my feelings are my feelings. And I know how I felt at that time and what I remember from that time. And I didn't go to my reunion. I just don't know them like that. And they didn't know me then. So there just was no desire to go. Maybe one day the stars will align, a portal will open up, I'll show up in the future. You never know. I mean, I did at least go to the 10-year one. I made a brief cameo appearance at one of the other ones right before one of our classmates, one of our really popular classmates that I was cool with before she died. So that was cool. But we'll see what the future brings. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rant today about this. I appreciate you, all of our listeners and watchers of Just Draw. So please, 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 please like, comment, subscribe to us, share our podcast with your friends on all of the platforms that you can listen to this podcast. Go back into the archives, listen to our older episodes. We've got some good stuff going on that we did before, and we've got some new stuff coming up. Again, I'm Jeff Levels Up, and you can follow me on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Spill at Jeff Levels Up. Until next time, peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Now be sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify at Just Draws. That's JUSTDRAWZ. Until next time, as you interact within your various communities, remember to be like Draws and don't be afraid to offer a little bit of support.